Hello everyone and welcome to lecture number 3. In the last lecture we have seen the properties of ferromagnetic material and its hysteresis curve, that how ferromagnetic material will behave in the presence of an external magnetic field. We all know that ferromagnetic material will have a magnetic dipoles oriented in a particular direction. Ferromagnetic material has a magnetic dipoles oriented in a particular directions, right? And we have seen that what happens when an external field is applied to ferromagnetic materials, right? In the last lecture, we are talking about ferromagnetic materials. Ferromagnetic materials. We have also discussed the difference between diamagnetic, paramagnetic, ferromagnetic and antiferromagnetic, right? The difference is nothing but it is in the orientation of these dipoles. The difference is nothing but the orientation of dipoles and the behavior in the presence of external magnetic field. In the second lecture we have seen the susceptibility, then we have seen permeability, magnetic permeability, that is chi and mu. Now in this lecture we will study Weiss molecular field theory. We will study Weiss molecular field theory, right? We will study Weiss molecular field theory. Now what is Weiss molecular field theory all about is? What is the Weiss molecular field theory all about is, right? Now assume a situation that this is under room temperature. Right, this is under room temperature, so it will have a particular value of chi, a particular value of susceptibility, right? Susceptibility is nothing but m upon h. Chi is nothing but m upon h, where m is nothing but magnetization and h is the applied field, right? Now if we increase the temperature, then this increasing temperature will have a direct effect on the magnetic dipole moments. It will have a direct effect on the magnetic dipole moments. Why? Because increasing the temperature will increase the thermal energy, the thermal inside energy of a material, and that will disturb the magnetic dipole moments. That will disturb the magnetic dipole moment. So we want to find out the relation. between chi and temperature. We want to find out the relation between chi and temperature, right? This all derivation we will see in Weiss molecular field theory. Now, starting with the Weiss molecular field theory, scientist named Weiss assumed that the dipoles present this internal dipole present in the ferromagnetic material without any external field will leads to internal magnetic field. Weiss assume that in ferromagnetic material, we know that, let me draw a clear picture. This is ferromagnetic material and having dipoles oriented in a particular direction. Now, the presence of this dipole moments will lead to a magnetic field inside the material, which is being named as internal magnetic field or Weiss field Right. So this is the assumption, or this is the postulated. This is been postulated by Weiss. Right. Now we have to derive the Weiss molecular field theory for two temperature, for T greater than Tf and T less than Tf. Right. T greater than Tf and T less than Tf. This greater than Tf means this Tf is nothing but the ferromagnetic Curie temperature. Tf is the ferromagnetic Curie temperature. Tf is nothing but ferromagnetic Curie temperature, and similarly Tp is paramagnetic Curie temperature. Right? This Tp we will come to last getting to know about it, but remember Tf is nothing but ferromagnetic Curie temperature. What is Curie temperature? That you have already studied in your BSc. Curie temperature is the temperature at which the ferromagnetic materials will change to paramagnetic material. Tf is nothing but Curie temperature. Ferromagnetic Curie temperature is nothing but the temperature at which this material, this ferromagnetic material will behave as a paramagnetic material. Right? So we'll study for T greater than Tf and T less than Tf. So we will have two derivations, right? So let us start our derivation with Weiss molecular field theory. I have tried to solve this derivation with taking reference from 2-3 books. So it will be, I think, if you can follow, it will be more easier than what is given in the book. Or either you can follow any other book also if you are familiar, or if you are having comfortable with another book, that is also fine. Right? Let us start with molecular field theory. Okay? Now, Weiss molecular field theory. As I mentioned, Weiss postulated that the strong interaction that tends to align the atomic moments parallel. Weiss postulated that the strong interaction that tends to align the atomic moment parallel in ferromagnet in ferromagnets could be considered as equivalent to some internal magnetic field HI, which is called as Weiss field or molecular field or exchange field. Or an exchange field, right? So this is all about the Weiss postulated. Now let us start our derivative with the derivation that Weiss assumed that this internal field, is directly proportional to the magnetization. That is, HI is equals to lambda m. HI is nothing but lambda m, where lambda is molecular field constant. Lambda is molecular field constant. Now, this is what Weiss assumed, and it has derived that HI is equals to lambda m. It is been assumption, right? Where lambda is nothing but molecular field constant, right? Now going ahead, we will start with, first of all, we will start with T less than TF. T less than TF. We will study T less than TF. Okay? Now, for T less than TF, that is spontaneous magnetization. That is spontaneous magnetization, right? Let us consider n number of atoms. Let us consider n number of atoms with an angular momentum j. Let us consider n number of atoms with j angular momentum. Let us consider n number of atoms with angular momentum j. Then the total magnetic moment, then the total magnetic moment capital M will be given by capital M is equals to N G mu of B J B Z of A. Right? Over here, M is this M, this M, this M is the total magnetic moment given by n number of atoms. This n is for n number of atoms. This G is the Landes G factor. Mu B is the Bohr magnetron. J is the angular momentum. And Bz of A function is the Brillouin zone function. Right? Is the Brillouin zone function. Let us give this as equation 1. Let us give this as equation 1. Okay? So M is nothing but total magnetic moment having n number of atoms. G is nothing but Landes G factor. Is Bohr magnetron. J is the angular momentum. B of Z A is nothing but the Brillouin zone function argument. Where here A is equals to J mu 0 mu B H into G divided by K beta T is the Brillouin argument of Brillouin function. Argument of Brillouin function, right? So this is all about the total magnetization, right? Now going ahead, the total magnetic field, that is HT will be given by the summation of HI and H plus HI. Right? This is what we have discussed. HI is nothing but the internal field or the Weiss field or molecular field. This H is nothing but the external magnetic field that we are going to apply. So the total magnetic field for a material, will be HT is equals to H plus HI, where we know that HT is equals to H plus HI is given by lambda m. HI is given by lambda m, right? Where lambda is molecular field constant. Molecular field constant. Lambda is nothing but molecular field constant. So substituting this value, substituting the value of H in A over here, in this H, substituting the value of H in the Brillouin zone function argument H, we will get A equals to, A double dash is equals to G mu 0 mu B J into H plus lambda m, divided by K beta of B of T, right? So the Brillouin zone function will be redefined as, by substituting this value of H, it will be this, right? Now going ahead, now moving ahead, we have the ordered region. The ordered region. Why the ordered region? It's the ordered region because T is less than Tf. Means we have temperature less than the Curie temperature. So the order, this is ferromagnetic material, this is the dipole moments. Over here T is less than Tf. So the order of the magnetic moments will not change. Will not change. The order of the magnetic moment or the direction pointing by all the magnetic moments will not change for T less than Tf. For T less than Tf. Right? Remember this condition. So external field, we can neglect this external field. We can neglect this external field as could then study. We can study the spontaneous magnetization. The spontaneous magnetization by setting H is equals to 0. By setting H is equals to 0. So, keeping this H is equals to 0 over here, H is equals to 0, in that formula, we will get the Brillouin function as, argument of Brillouin function A double dash is equals to G mu 0 mu b j lambda m by k b of t. Right? Making the above equation to the subject of m. Now, making the above equation subject to of capital M, then we will get M is equals to K beta T of A double dash divided by G mu b mu 0 j lambda. Right? Now, this is equation number 2. Remember, we have also calculated the total magnetic moment M in the previous section, in the previous just derivative, that is the total magnetic moment. Now, comparing equation Now, comparing equation 1 and 2, comparing equation 1 and 2, we will get, comparing equation 1 and 2, we will get M is equals to K dt of A double dash divided by mu 0 mu b g j of lambda is equals to n g mu b j of Brillouin function. Right? Now, making the subject to over here, just we are comparing equation number 1 and 2, making the subject to equation 1, making the subject of this with bz of a, we will get bz function a is equals to a double dash k substitute b of t and g square mu 0 mu b, that is more magnetron, j square lambda. You will get the value of bz, that is Brillouin zone function, is equals to a double dash k of bt and g square mu 0 mu beta square mu b whole square mu b square j square and lambda. Over here, remember that in some of the books they have also used the Brillouin function. They have also used the Brillouin function bz of a is equals to m of t by m of 0. So don't get confused by Brillouin function, because Brillouin function in some of the books they have also used bz of a is equals to mt by m0. This m is nothing but the total magnetic moments. M is nothing but the total magnetic moments at temperature T, and this m is nothing but the total magnetic moment at temperature T equals to 0. Temperature T equals to 0. Now over here we can plot the graph of this with respect to a double dash. We can plot the graph of Brillouin function with respect to a double dash. This with respect to a double dash with the variation of t. With the variation of t. So the graph will be looks like somewhat this. This is T, this is MT by M0, and we will have this is the Brillouin function. Now we will have three categories, that T is equals to Tf, T less than Tf, and T greater than Tf. Right? Now, for T less than Tp, we will have this kind of curve. Right? This is for T less than Tp. This is T equals to Tp, Tf, and T greater than Tf. T greater than Tf, right? Don't get confused between Tp and Tf, because that is Tf which we have replaced. Now here the curve for T less than Tf is only having intersection at this point and at point X. So if the temperature is T is less than the ferromagnetic Curie temperature, this ferromagnetic Curie temperature, then only it will have a stable spontaneous magnetization. For only T less than TF we have intersection so it represents non-zero and corresponds to spontaneous magnetization. It corresponds to spontaneous magnetization, right? So this is all about for T less than TF, right? For only T less than TF, ferromagnetic materials will have spontaneous magnetization, right? So if the temperature of ferromagnetic material is being increased, if a temperature is increased, then for T less than TF, ferromagnetic materials will have its internal field, that is HI, what we have discussed in the starting of the theory, right? For greater than TF and for equals to TF, it will not have spontaneous magnetization. Spontaneous magnetization is nothing but the magnetization or the magnetic fields due to the presence of the magnetic dipoles aligned in a particular direction. Magnetic dipoles aligned in a particular direction, right? So this is all about for T less than TF. Further, let us derive the relation between chi and TF with considering T greater than TF, right? So this is the second derivative. Where we are considering T greater than TF. Right? TF is nothing but the Curie temperature of ferromagnetic material. TF is nothing but the Curie temperature of ferromagnetic material. Where after greater than TF, the ferromagnetic material will be converting itself to paramagnetic, right? Now, the second phase is paramagnetic region, that is T greater than TF. Remember the previous one which we have derived and got this graph, that is T less than TF. Now, if a material is there and having dipoles and you increase the temperature, then when T reaches greater than TF, T will become greater than TF, then this will become disorient themselves. These dipoles disorient themselves and become paramagnetic. Right? The dipoles which are being oriented in a particular direction, that is of ferromagnetic, with the increase in temperature greater than TF, it will become paramagnetic. Paramagnetic means the dipoles will be randomly oriented, right? So we will derive for paramagnetic region. That is why it is been known as paramagnetic region. If T is greater than TF, then that ferromagnetic material will convert itself into paramagnetic material, right? Now let us start. Now here induced magnetization will result will result on application of external magnetic field. External magnetic field, right? So in the previous case we have defined H is equals to 0, but over here we will not take H is equals to 0. Why? Because we are applying an external magnetic field. So H will not be equals to 0. So H will not be equals to 0, right? So therefore the total H of T will be equals to H plus HI. H plus HI. In the previous case we have made this H equals to 0 because we are not applying this external magnetic field. Over here we are not making H 0 because we are applying external magnetic field. So the argument A will be equals to J mu 0 mu B of Bohr-Mann-Patron H plus HI into G of Landis G factor by K beta of T. K beta of T, where A is equals to G J mu 0 mu B H plus lambda M divided by K B of T. This is nothing but the Brillouin zone argument, right? A. Its value changes from H plus lambda M. In the previous case, it was only having the component lambda M, right? The H is being included because we are applying an external magnetic field. This is the external magnetic field. Now, in order to establish the relation between the relation of TF, we make use of fact A less than 1. A is very small, that is over the origin, near to origin. If A is less than small, then Brillouin function is approximately given as B Z of A is equals to A into J plus 1 by J. This is nothing but the approximation, right? If A is less than A, the value of A is very small. If value of A is very small, right, over here near to origin, then the Brillouin function is approximately given by this value. This is approximation, right? So let us give, this is equation number 4, this is equation number 5. This is equation number 4 and equation number 5. Now again take equation number 1 and try to substitute the value of equation number 4 and equation number 5. Try to substitute the value of substitute values of 4 and 5 in equation number 1. Substituting the value of equation number 4 and 5 in equation number 1. That is n is equals to n g mu b j beta z of a. Right? This is what we have equation. Substituting these both values, we will get n g mu b j plus 1 divided by 3 into j mu 0 mu b into h plus lambda m divided by, it will also have value g divided by kb of t will be equals to n g square mu 0 mu b Bohr magneton square j into j plus 1 into h plus lambda n divided by 3 k beta of t. This is m. This is m. Right? This is the value of m. Now over here we are assuming that C is equals to n g square mu 0 mu b square into j plus 1 divided by 3 kb equals to c. We are taking the value, this value as c. We are taking this much value as c, right? Where c is nothing but the Curie constant, right? C is nothing but the Curie constant. So the total equation, the equation of M, the total magnetic field, will be M will be equals to C by T into H plus lambda M, right? So M is equals to, now solving this equation, we will get CH by T plus C lambda M divided by T, where taking this on the other side, we will have M common, 1 minus C lambda by T is equals to CH by T, right? Where we know that M by H is equals to chi is equals to C T T minus C lambda, right? This is T minus C lambda. Now again we have one relation between T F is equals to C lambda. We have using above relation, our M by H is equals to chi is equals to C by T minus C lambda, where chi will be equals to C divided by T minus T F. So this is our required equation, right? This is nothing but the equation containing the chi and the relation between T, that is the temperature, and the TF, that is the ferromagnetic Curie temperature, right? This is the Curie constant. So the above expression describes the variation of susceptibility in paramagnetic material region above the Curie point, above TF, with respect to TF. Remember, we have taken the condition that T will be greater than TF. T will be greater than TF, right? Now, so this is all about the derivative. If we plot the graph of if we plot the graph of 1 by chi versus t, then we will get a something like this curve where this is TF, and if we extrapolate this, then this is TP. This is TF and TP, where TF is nothing but the ferromagnetic Curie temperature, and TP is nothing but paramagnetic Curie temperature. So it explains us that if you increase the temperature of a ferromagnetic material beyond TF, then it will behave as a paramagnetic. If you increase, then it will behave as a paramagnetic. If you increase the temperature beyond TF, then the ferromagnetic material will convert itself into paramagnetic material. Over here, we are completed with the Weiss molecular field theory. In the next class, we will take another singlet and triplets problems theory, and we will discuss that what is the origin of the internal field which was been postulated by Weiss, that is the molecular field or the Weiss field, right? Okay, thank you.